Our final topic in the gray areas between pro and antisocial pressures is the topic of data collection. Now, data collection isn't something completely new, but the ability to collect massive amounts of data and to then process that data using different algorithms is something that's only emerged really within the last decade or so. And of course, Ajit Pai has again green-lighted internet service providers collecting user data without notifying them that they're collecting it or informing them about what has been collected. And like net neutrality, data collection has a positive side, right? Free computer and phone apps like Instagram, browsers, and antivirus software, websites that provide free content and services like YouTube and Facebook, search engines, and so on, they all fund their development and service costs by collecting user data and selling it or using it to target advertisements within their own platforms. Likewise, governments collect data for, among other things, law enforcement and national security. And to some degree, most people accept these trade-offs of privacy for services. Of course, not all data collection strikes people as so innocent. And companies like Google and Facebook have openly collected data for years and provided some transparency regarding their practices, but they've also committed remarkable abuses. The details regarding the extent to which companies like Facebook collect and distribute data, the number and nature of the data collectors, and the uses of that data are still emerging. And the potential for malicious, unanticipated, and simply negligent use of personal data collection abound. For example, going back to that 2016 election that provides us with so many great examples, Cambridge Analytica, which was a research company that was behind both Brexit and the Trump campaign, used Facebook to gain access to personal data of approximately 50 million Americans. And we find Newsweek reporting that, and I'm quoting them here, a lot of the information and deals that take place are proprietary in nature, says Paul Steffens, a director of Privacy Rights Clearinghouse in San Diego, which advocates for consumer rights regarding personal information. It's hard to tell who's selling what to whom. Several years ago, a broker named InfoUSA sold a list of 19,000 verified elderly sweepstakes winners to a group of experienced scam artists who stole over $100 million by calling people on the list and pretending to be government or insurance workers who needed bank account information to ensure their pill prescriptions. And in fact, the interesting thing, or frightening thing, about a lot of the data collection that goes on now is that it's really remarkably unregulated. So if you get denied a loan for a car or a house because of your credit report, there's a law that says that Equifax or TransUnion or whatever the credit company was has to provide you with a free copy of your credit report. And if the data in that credit report is inaccurate in any way, shape, or form, you can require them to correct their mistakes. And if they can't verify the information, they have to delete it. So a lot of the old data collection that occurs in society, things like credit bureaus, there are regulations, controls, and norms about how to go about collecting that information and the rights that consumers have with regard to the information about them that gets collected and how it gets used. This is completely untrue of more contemporary data collection. Most of the data collection that occurs on the internet, for example, is collection that you have no idea who's getting that information, what they're doing with that information. If that information is inaccurate or undesirable for you, you have no legal recourse really to go about trying to get it deleted from their data collection files, and so on. Right? It's a completely different milieu, the new data collection. And as a result, companies can gather all sorts of information that they can use to target or manipulate you, that they can sell or amalgamate, so on, without you ever even knowing it, or having any say in whether or not it is accurate or inaccurate, whether or not it's collected or not. And this isn't, again, to say that this data doesn't actually work. Oftentimes, you find people saying, well, you know, I was talking about something or thinking about something, and then I got an ad for it like a day or two later. That is data collection working. It's not necessarily them hacking into your computer and listening to you or turning on your camera. They're just predicting what you want or what you need or what you're thinking about based on the ways that you use the internet and the data that they collect from that. So when we turn our attention in the next information ecosystems lecture away from all the potential dangers and exploitive strategies and so on, we're going to turn our attention to ways that you can go about developing a useful and robust information ecosystem. And that'll be the focus of the last lecture on information ecosystems that we'll have.